Congressman Jared Golden and Senator Susan Collins introduced bipartisan legislation to support loggers harmed by natural disasters. The Loggers Economic Assistance and Relief Act would establish a new U.S. Department of Agriculture program to support loggers who have lost money due to natural disasters. Under current law, loggers are excluded from disaster relief assistance, which is given to fishermen and farmers. Under the new law, a disaster declaration from the president or governor would unlock federal assistance eligibility for logging businesses with a minimum of 10% loss in revenue. Covered damage would include high winds, fire, flooding, insect infestation, and drought.